Hi, your topic today is the order of operations by evaluating numbers. Our objective for today is to use the order of operations and then evaluate numbers by plugging them in and solving. So the main thing that we want to know about right now is the word evaluate. Evaluate means to plug in and simplify. Second thing that you want to know is whatever you plug in, you must put in parentheses. Now, just to recap from what we did yesterday, or the other day before, order of operations, remember the words PEMDAS, parentheses, and that includes parentheses and brackets, exponents, numbers that have that power, multiplication and division, and again, it's a left to right type of situation, as well as addition and subtraction, again, left to right situation. So we're going to go ahead and use this with what we learned the other day with the order of operations, and today we're going to evaluate by plugging in some numbers and then simplifying. And throughout this time you're going to hear evaluate a lot. So let's start off with this one. Alright, our first step here is to evaluate, and to evaluate means to plug in and simplify. So let's first of all plug in. And remember our second step, anything that we plug in, we want to put parentheses around it. So here we have x plus z, and anytime you see z next to the x or a letter next to each other, it's going to imply multiplication. So this actually means to multiply with each other. So let's go ahead and multiply that, or I'm sorry, plug in. So let's put the 2 in here, parentheses, 2 plus z is equal to 5 multiplied, and when you have 2 parentheses next to each other, that also implies multiplying. Lots of things that imply multiply. And then we're going to go ahead and place the x, which is equal to 2. So what we've done so far is we have, first of all, plugged in our numbers. So we've plugged in the x's, plugged in the z's, and now we can go ahead and solve. Now, according to our order of operations, actually, you know what? Let's go and write it real quickly right here. P, E, M, D, A, S. And here again, each one is a step to each other, okay? So, let's start off with the first one. We do have parentheses, but within each parentheses, we really don't have anything to do, and that's within each parentheses. Next, let's look for any exponents. We don't have any exponents, so we can move on to the next step. Now let's look for multiplication or division. Here I have a 2 plus, and then here I have a 5 times 2. Because multiplication division does come as a step before addition and subtraction, we're going to go ahead and do that. 5 times 2 becomes 10. Then I'm going to go ahead and drop down what we have not used. 2 plus 10. Then again, let's go back over. So our new expression right now is 2 plus 10. So here we have parentheses. Exponents, don't have that either. Multiplication and division, we're done with that. So now we're down to our addition and subtraction. Since we do see an addition, we're going to go ahead and solve that. And since it's only one final operation, your answer comes out to be 12. Alright, let's take care of the next one. Here we have 3 that we need to evaluate for. We're going to put 5 into the x, we're going to plug in the 6 into the y, and we're going to plug in the 3 into the z. So let's go and rewrite this. So this becomes 5 on the outside, parentheses, y, you know what, let's go ahead and put brackets right there. Then, minus, and then z. So if you noticed, I placed some brackets here because we originally had parentheses here, So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that we make this organized for us to work on. Because we know that this is going to be done first, that's what we're going to do first. So let's work on this part. Because of what we're doing here, parentheses, let's work on this. And it did include brackets. So 6 minus 3 is equal to 3. And then we're going to go ahead and close this. And then we're going to finish up with what we haven't done yet, which is at 5. So, and again, 2 parentheses means multiplication. So now we're going to go ahead and look again here. Within each parentheses, there's no operation to do, no exponents. We do see a multiplication, so we're going to go ahead and work on that. So 5 times 3 gives you 15. And we're done. Alright, let's work on another problem. Alright, these are more examples right here. So let's go ahead and plug in certain numbers. So let's start off with the R, because that's the first one that we have. So here we have 3 plus, and again, we're going to go ahead and place in parentheses that P. The P is 2, and then that's your 3 right here. Alright, let's go ahead and rewrite our PEMDAS. And again, we have to go ahead and finish each one before we can move on to the next step. So, let's start off again. Parentheses, we do have that because we did, when we plugged it in, we placed parentheses right here. However, there's no operation here yet. So let's move on. Do I have an exponent? I see 2 to the third power. That's your exponent. So let's go ahead and work on that. 2 to the third power means 2 times 2 times 2. It doesn't mean 2 times 3, it means 2 to the third power. So that is going to give us 8, because 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8. Go ahead and bring down the rest. Now let's go ahead and look again. No parentheses. We're done with our exponents. I don't see any multiplication or division, but I do see an addition. So that's our final step right here. 3 plus 8. That's going to give us 11. Alright, next one. Here we have in parentheses 6 minus k to the second power plus j. And this means whatever we have here, we still have to go and put to the second power. So let's go ahead and input our, or plug in our 4 and the 1. So let's start off with the k, which is 1. So this is going to be, let's go ahead and do brackets on this one. So here we have 6 minus, and then k is equal to 1 to the second power, and then plus j, we're going to substitute the 4. So here, 6 minus 1, we're going to go ahead and make that 5, and don't forget that second power right here, and then plus 4. So we've done parentheses. Now let's go ahead and see if we have any exponents. And I see that we have 5 to the second power. 5 to the second power means 5 times 5. That gives you 25. And then again, brought down plus 4. We don't have any parentheses. We finished our exponents. We're going to look for multiplication and division. Since I don't see that here, then we're going to finish it up with addition and subtraction. So here we do have an addition. So 25 plus 4 is going to give us 29. Alright, let's do one more problem. Alright, quite long problem, but all we're doing is the same thing. So if you follow the same steps, you'll be alright. So let's first of all plug in and then simplify. 14 stays the same because we know that's just 14. Minus q is equal to 12, so we're going to go ahead and put 12 right here in parentheses. Divided by r plus p times 3 to the second power. just so that we're okay with this one, for those who forgot, go ahead on the top, write down P, E, M, D, A, S. And again, each one is a step that you need to complete in order to go on to the next step. Alright, so now let's go ahead and look at it. Parentheses, we have some, but they're just there to organize your numbers. Exponents, we have it right here. So here we have 3 to the second power. 3 to the second power is going to give us 9. Then I'm going to just put in everything else that we put. Okay. Now let's move on. So here, parentheses, we've established that these are just organizing. Exponents, we finished that. Let's go and find some multiplication and division. Now I see a division and I see a multiplication. And if you remember, multiplication and division, it's a left to right process. So which means if I go from this way to this way, I notice that my division is first. So that's what I'm going to do first. So I'm going to do 12 divided by 3, which is going to give me 4. I'm going to go ahead and drop down everything else. Here's my plus sign right here, because my 12 divided by 3 is at 4. Here's my plus, here's my 1 times 9. And again, let's go ahead and look. We now have 14 minus 4 plus 1 times 9. No parentheses. We're finished with our exponents earlier on. We finished with our first part of our multiplication and division. So now let's move on to the second part of the multiplication. So we have 14 minus 4 plus 1 times 9. So we're going to do 1 times 9 because that is following our next step. 1 times 9 is equal to 9. Drop down everything else that has not been worked on. And then now let's look again. Parentheses, none. Exponents, we finished it. Multiplication, division, we finished it right here. We just finished that last step right there. Now let's do addition and subtraction. And again, if you look at it, we have both subtraction and addition. Notice going left to right, subtraction comes first. So we're going to do 14 minus 4, and that's 10. Drop down the plus, 9. And because we just have one operation left, we know that that's our last step. So finally, 10 plus 9 is going to give us 19.